I'm so glad you're here with us today. We're diving deep into A Course in Miracles, and if you're just joining our community, you might be wondering what this course is all about. I'd love to invite you to check out the very first video on this channel, where I break down exactly what A Course in Miracles is, how it came to exist, and why it's been transforming lives for over 5 decades. It'll give you the perfect foundation for everything we explore together here. Today, we continue our journey through Chapter 6, The Lessons of Love, and we arrive at a section that completely upends everything the world has taught you about how life works. Section 6 is called To Have, Give All to All, and those 6 words contain a principle so revolutionary, so contrary to everything you've been conditioned to believe, that your ego is probably already scrambling to dismiss it before we even begin. Think about how you've been taught to operate in this world. To have something, you must get it, acquire it, earn it, take it, buy it, win it, or somehow bring it into your possession from outside yourself. And once you have it, you must keep it, protect it, guard it carefully, because if you give it away, you'll lose it. This is the foundation of the entire world's economy, isn't it? Scarcity, competition, the belief that there's not enough to go around, so you'd better grab what you can and hold on tight. Give sparingly, because every bit you give is a bit you no longer have. This thinking permeates every area of your life. Money, obviously, but also time, energy, attention, even love. You've been taught to ration these things, to be strategic about who gets what, to make sure you're not being taken advantage of, to ensure you're getting at least as much as you're giving, preferably more. The ego whispers constantly, don't give too much. Save some for yourself. What if you need it later? What if there's not enough? What if you give to the wrong person? What if they don't deserve it? What if they don't appreciate it? What if they take advantage of your generosity? And so you live with a clenched fist instead of an open hand. You hold back. You calculate. You measure. You keep score. And all the while, you wonder why you feel so empty, so lacking, so perpetually unsatisfied no matter how much you manage to accumulate. Now imagine if I told you that everything you've learned about having and giving is exactly backwards. What if the very act of holding on is what keeps you poor? What if hoarding is what creates scarcity in your experience? What if the key to having everything is giving everything? Your rational mind probably wants to reject this immediately. It sounds naive, impractical, even dangerous. Give everything away? To everyone? That's insane, right? That's a recipe for being used, depleted, left with nothing. But A Course in Miracles isn't teaching you worldly wisdom. It's teaching you spiritual law, and spiritual law operates on principles that are the complete opposite of the world's laws. In the ego's economy, giving means loss. In God's economy, giving means increase. In the ego's world, you must take to have. In God's reality, you must give to have. This isn't just a nice metaphor or a feel-good sentiment. This is literally how reality works at the level of spirit, at the level of truth, at the level where you actually exist. Today, we're going to explore this principle that sounds so impossible to the ego, but is so natural to spirit. We're going to understand why giving and receiving are actually the same thing, why giving to one is giving to all, why giving everything is the only way to truly have everything. And most importantly, we're going to discover how to actually live this principle in a practical, tangible way that transforms your experience from scarcity to abundance, from fear to love, from poverty to wealth beyond measure. This teaching has the power to completely revolutionize your relationship with everything in your life. Are you ready to have your understanding turned inside out? Are you willing to consider that the way to have is to give? Then let's begin this beautiful, liberating exploration together. Let's start by understanding exactly what the ego has taught you about having and giving. Because until you see this clearly, you won't recognize how completely backwards it is. The ego's fundamental law is simple. To have, you must take and keep. This law governs the entire world you see. It's the foundation of every economic system, every business model, every personal strategy for survival and success. Get what you can, hold what you have, and whatever you do, don't give it away unless you're getting something equal or better in return. This creates what the Course calls the economy of scarcity. Scarcity means there's not enough. Not enough money, not enough time, not enough love, not enough success to go around. So life becomes a competition, a struggle, a constant effort to secure your piece of the limited pie before someone else takes it. And if you give your piece away, well, now you have less and someone else has more. That's just basic math, right? That's just common sense. That's just how reality works, except it's not reality at all. It's illusion. It's the ego's dream. And in this dream, you are forever poor no matter how much you accumulate. Because the ego's economy is based on a lie, the lie of separation. The lie that what you give to another is lost to you. The lie that your brother's gain is your loss. The lie that you are separate beings with separate interests competing for limited resources. Now here comes the Holy Spirit with a teaching that sounds absolutely insane to the ego. To have, you must give. Not take, give. Not hoard, share. Not protect, extend. This is the complete reversal of everything the world teaches. And your ego mind wants to reject it immediately because it threatens the entire system it has built for your supposed safety and survival. But let's look at this more carefully. The Holy Spirit teaches that giving and receiving are identical because in truth, there is no separation between giver and receiver. When you give love, who experiences that love first? You do. When you extend peace, who feels that peace immediately? You do. When you offer forgiveness, who is freed by that forgiveness? You are. You cannot give what you do not have, and in the very act of giving, you experience having it. And because you are joined with all your brothers in truth, when you give to one, you give to yourself. This is not the ego's version of giving, where you give something external, something you possess, and then watch it leave your hands and go to someone else. The Holy Spirit teaches you to give what is real: love, peace, joy, forgiveness, truth, recognition of innocence. And here's the beautiful paradox. These things cannot be diminished by giving. They can only be increased. The more love you give, the more you experience. The more peace you extend, the more peace you feel. The more you recognize innocence in your brother, the more you recognize it in yourself. Think about a candle lighting another candle. Does the first candle lose its light? No. It remains fully lit while another flame is born. That's how spiritual abundance works. It's not a matter of dividing a limited resource. It's a matter of extending an unlimited reality. You are not a container with a finite amount to pour out. You are a channel through which infinite love flows. And the more you let it flow through you to others, the more you experience its presence in yourself. The ego screams that this is dangerous, foolish, naive. But the ego has kept you poor, fearful, and separate. Perhaps it's time to try a different law, the law of abundance that governs your true reality. Now, we come to the part that really makes the ego panic. Giving all to all. Not some things to some people. Not carefully measured portions to those you deem worthy. Not strategic gifts with expected returns. All to all. Everything to everyone. Your ego is probably screaming right now, "That's ridiculous. That's impossible. That's foolish. I'll be left with nothing. People will take advantage of me. I need to protect myself. I need boundaries. I need to be selective." But let's understand what the Course is actually asking you to give. It's not asking you to give away your house, your money, your physical possessions to every person you meet. That would be the ego's interpretation, reducing spiritual truth to worldly form. What the Course is asking you to give is much more profound and far more challenging. Give your love, your peace, your recognition of innocence, your forgiveness, your acknowledgement of shared divinity. Give these things to everyone, without exception, without conditions, without selectivity. This is where the ego's game of specialness gets completely dismantled. The ego loves selective giving because it reinforces separation and hierarchy. You give love to these people but not those people. You offer kindness to those who deserve it, but withhold it from those who don't. You extend peace to your friends, but attack your enemies. This selective giving is actually not giving at all. It's bargaining, trading, manipulating. It's the ego's version of love, which isn't love but a transaction. True giving, the kind the Holy Spirit teaches, makes no distinctions. It recognizes that everyone you meet is either expressing love or calling for love, and both deserve the same response: love. The person who smiles at you and the person who cuts you off in traffic are both your brothers, both equally deserving of your blessing, both equally worthy of your peace. This sounds impossible to the ego because the ego sees through the lens of judgment, constantly evaluating who deserves what based on behavior, worthiness, and perceived value. But here's the liberating truth. When you give all to all, you're not actually giving to separate individuals. You're recognizing the one self that lives in all. You're acknowledging that there is no other to whom you're giving. There is only the one Son of God, appearing in many forms, and when you bless any form, you bless the whole. When you withhold from any brother, you withhold from yourself. This is why selective giving keeps you poor. Every person you exclude from your love is a part of yourself you're rejecting. The ego fears that giving everything means losing everything. But this fear is based on the false belief that you possess anything to lose in the first place. You don't own love. You are love. You don't possess peace. You are peace. These are not commodities you acquire that can be depleted. They are what you are, and what you are cannot be diminished by extension. In fact, it can only be known by extension. Think about it this way. You cannot know you are loving unless you express love. You cannot know you are peaceful unless you extend peace. You cannot know you are abundant unless you give abundantly. The act of giving is not separate from the experience of having. They are simultaneous, identical, one and the same. When you give love to everyone you encounter, you experience yourself as love itself. When you withhold love from anyone, you experience yourself as something less than what you are. Giving all to all doesn't mean you become a doormat or allow harmful behavior. It means you see past the behavior to the truth beneath, and you respond to the truth rather than the illusion. You can set boundaries, speak truth, protect what needs protecting, all while maintaining your inner stance of total love and forgiveness. The giving happens at the level of your mind, your perception, your awareness. You give everyone the gift of seeing them as God created them, even when their behavior reflects something very different. This is the practice that sets you free. Give everything. Exclude no one. Make no exceptions. So how do you actually live this principle in your everyday life? How do you translate to have, give all to all from a beautiful spiritual concept into practical reality? This is where the teaching becomes deeply personal, intimately transformative, and sometimes uncomfortably challenging. Because living this principle requires a fundamental shift in how you approach every single interaction, every relationship, every moment of your day. Let's start with what you're actually being asked to give. The Course isn't primarily concerned with material things, though your relationship with material things will certainly shift as your understanding deepens. What you're called to give is love, forgiveness, peace, joy, and the recognition of truth in everyone you meet. These are the gifts that matter, the only gifts that are real, the only gifts that have the power to transform both giver and receiver. In practical terms, this means approaching every person with the question, what can I give here? Instead of, what can I get here? Notice how revolutionary this is. Your default mode, the ego's programming, is to assess every situation for what it can do for you. What can this person give me? What can I gain from this interaction? How can this serve my needs? The shift to, what can I give? Completely reverses this orientation and aligns you with the Holy Spirit's purpose instead of the ego's agenda. When you encounter someone who's angry or upset, instead of defending yourself or withdrawing, you give them your peace. Not by trying to fix them or calm them down, but by maintaining your own inner peace regardless of their state. That peace becomes a gift, a silent offering that says, "Your chaos doesn't require me to become chaotic. Your fear doesn't obligate me to become fearful. I can stand here in peace, and that peace is available to you whenever you're ready to receive it." When someone makes a mistake, treats you unfairly, or behaves badly, instead of judgment and condemnation, you give them forgiveness. Not the condescending kind that says, "I'm better than you, but I'll graciously overlook your failing." Rather, the kind that recognizes, "You are not this behavior. You are not this mistake. You are not this moment of unconsciousness. You are God's beloved creation, temporarily lost in illusion, and I choose to see the truth about you even when you can't see it yourself." When you're in conversation with someone, instead of waiting for your turn to talk, thinking about what you'll say next, or judging what they're saying, you give them your full attention, your genuine presence, your recognition that this moment matters and they matter. This is a profound gift in a world where most people are so lost in their own thoughts that true listening has become rare. The transformation that occurs when you begin living this way is nothing short of miraculous. First, you discover that you're no longer exhausted by relationships. The ego's way of relating is draining because it's constantly calculating, defending, strategizing, protecting. The Holy Spirit's way is effortless because you're simply allowing love to flow through you rather than trying to manage and control everything. Second, you experience an increase in everything you value. Not necessarily material increase, though that may come, but an increase in peace, joy, meaningful connection, and a sense of purpose. You realize you're not poor at all. You have everything to give because you are everything. You are an infinite channel of God's abundance, and the more you let it flow, the more abundant you feel. Third, you stop feeling like a victim of circumstances or other people. When your focus shifts from getting to giving, from receiving to extending, you reclaim your power. You're no longer dependent on others behaving a certain way for you to be happy. Your happiness comes from what you're choosing to give, and that choice is always in your hands. This is the secret the ego doesn't want you to discover. You are already abundant, already whole, already complete. We've reached the end of our exploration of one of the most transformative principles in A Course in Miracles, to have. Give all to all. Let this truth settle deeply into your consciousness right now. Allow it to challenge everything you thought you knew about abundance, scarcity, giving, and receiving. Because what we've discovered today has the power to completely revolutionize your experience of life. Let's remember the journey we've taken together. We've seen how the ego's law of scarcity keeps you perpetually poor, always grasping, always fearful of loss, always calculating what you can get and how much you must protect. We've discovered the Holy Spirit's opposite teaching, that giving and receiving are the same, that to have everything you must give everything, that true abundance flows from extension, not from hoarding. We've explored what it means to give all to all, not selective love to chosen few, but universal love without exception, without conditions, without limits. And we've looked at how to actually live this principle in your daily life, transforming every interaction into an opportunity to give and thereby to have. This isn't theory. This isn't philosophy to admire from a distance. This is the operating manual for your life, the key to experiencing the abundance that is your true nature, the pathway from the ego's economy of scarcity to God's reality of infinite wealth. Every moment you choose to give rather than to take, to extend rather than to withhold, to open rather than to close, you prove to yourself that this principle works. You experience firsthand that the more you give, the more you have. Not because of some cosmic reward system, but because giving is how you know what you are, and what you are is everything. You don't have to be perfect at this. You don't have to give flawlessly in every moment. There will be times when you forget, when fear takes over, when the ego convinces you to hold back and protect yourself. That's okay. That's part of the learning process. What matters is your willingness to keep returning to this principle, to keep choosing giving over getting, to keep practicing the radical generosity that reflects your true nature. As you move forward from this moment, I invite you to experiment with this teaching. Choose one person today and give them everything, your full attention, your genuine love, your recognition of their innocence, your blessing. Notice what happens. Notice how you feel. Notice whether you experience loss or increase. Let your own experience teach you the truth of what we've explored today. If this message has resonated with something deep within you, if you feel the truth of this principle even while your ego resists it, please click the like button below. Your support helps these teachings reach others who are ready to shift from scarcity to abundance, from fear to love, from poverty to the wealth that comes from giving everything. If you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, I encourage you to do so now. We share new content every day to support your journey with A Course in Miracles, to help you understand and apply these life-changing principles, to remind you of the truth about who you are when the world tries to convince you otherwise. Don't miss out on these daily teachings that can transform your entire experience of reality. Please share this video with someone who needs to hear this message. Perhaps you know someone who's struggling with feelings of scarcity, who's exhausted from trying to get and protect and accumulate, who's ready to discover that the way to have everything is to give everything. Send them this video. Offer them this gift of truth. Your sharing might be exactly what someone needs to begin their own journey from lack to abundance. And I would love to hear from you in the comments. What are you being called to give? Where in your life are you still trying to have by keeping rather than by giving? What shifts when you experiment with this principle? Share your experiences, your insights, your challenges. Your words can inspire and encourage others in this community who are learning to live by a different law. Thank you so deeply for being here, for opening your heart to this teaching, for being willing to consider that everything you've learned about having and giving might be backwards. You are a channel of God's infinite abundance, and the world needs what you have to give. Remember, to have, give all to all. This is not sacrifice. This is the pathway to knowing yourself as the abundance you seek. Until next time, may you give freely, love completely, and experience the infinite wealth that comes from extension.